Welcome back to the Pool Podcast. I'm Michaela Pascal, and this is Jack the Pool Boy. JTPB. Yeah, JTPB.
Or JPB. Sometimes people don't put the T, but I like to.
I like the T.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. We were just talking this morning about like how I just realized it's a very like Larry the Cable Guy name.
Yeah. No.
And we never really put that together. But like I like the.
Tyler the Creator.
Megan the Stallion.
Megan the Stallion.
Yeah.
Chance the Rapper. He spells it with an A.
Yeah.
Right?
Does he?
I believe so.
He might.
That's wrong.
I forgot.
You're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
That's not the word.
It's not the word.
People can keep on saying like, I'm like, the is like the middle name there because it's not the word the.
Yeah.
But that's, you know me, I'm the spelling police.
You are the spelling police.
I am for names.
Yeah, you are. Oh my God. No.
We can get into it whenever you want. Like, honestly,
I think everyone who listens to this podcast is fully aware of how you feel.
I think going forward, if you want to submit your name, you're like, hey, my name's unique. I can grade it.
Yeah.
And be like, why would you spell it that way?
I know. I want to do some sort of a crowd segment next week. I don't know what it is yet, but something with reading your guys' responses.
Audience participation.
Some audience participation. You know the vibes. Yeah, IDK. It's been a week, a quick week, I feel like.
It's been a quick week, but it also feels like it's been forever.
Yeah.
We're just so busy right now.
We're just so busy. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything you want to jump into, or I can jump into?
California's on fire.
Yeah, I was gonna say
crazy.
That's very scary, very sad.
It's very sad, but it's so weird because it's like, so we lived in California for the longest time, your whole life.
Yeah.
And, you know, I remember I would get texts. It would be so funny. I'd get texts like Northern California, which if you're from the East Coast, like I'm from Northern Virginia, I'm from Washington, D.C. Northern California is basically where Massachusetts is. Where it's like if Massachusetts was on fire, nobody would text me.
Yes. But just
because they know I'm states away, but it's
Yeah.
the same state. So I would get a text from like my grandma and be like, just hoping you're okay. And it's like, that's in Sacramento.
Yeah. That's a whole other state.
I haven't even been close to Sacramento.
I know. It's so interesting with the people who aren't super familiar with like, especially LA.
Yeah.
It's the like, oh, I'm coming to LA. And it's like, we're a state apart where we're staying versus where I live.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of hard to actually see people. And so like when there is like an LA like thing like this, it's like, oh, are you close? And it's like, shit, this time it seems like all of LA is on fire right now.
It really does.
Which
And
is
actually
really scary.
This is also the first time though too, where it's like, obviously in the past, just because from moving there, at first you're like, holy shit, it's on fire.
Yeah.
And it's like, what always happens is like a few houses kind of like a lot of forest gets burned down, which isn't good.
It's usually when you're on the freeway, you basically just see everything's dead.
Yeah.
For like the next 2 years.
But then if you look around, like none of like the authority figures or like none of the police are, none of them seem like, oh man, it's all like, yeah, it's manageable. Like it's kind of growing, but it'll die. Like we know where it'll stop. It won't jump the freeway. And then every now and then it will, but it's just like, usually there aren't really any deaths. Usually.
Yeah. There's usually a small number. Like it's.
If any though, usually it's like a few houses burned down and it sucks.
Yeah. No, I like.
But people are pretty good at getting away. It's like a tornado anywhere else.
Yeah. No, because it's like, yeah, I have like a real fear of fires just because I grew up like in California with the like, there's been a number of times where I'm like, holy shit, that was close and that was so scary. And like, I guess like 2019 was a really bad year for fires, and like that one kind of scared me a ton because that was a year that like I had to like just ditch my house, and that was really scary. And like one of my neighbor's houses completely burned down. Like it so last second saved my house, but so I'm just like really scared of that stuff. But this time it just seems like holy shit, everything is burning. Sorry, I cursed so early on. Dang it.
Bleeper.
Yeah,
we'll say the line again, and then you can just.
No, it's okay. We're not monetized yet, so I can survive. But
yeah, like. This time seeing the videos, it's like I saw videos of people in their house and you look outside and it's like, it looks like literally hell. Like the pictures of like, this is what hell looks like. It looks like that. And it's just usually it gets stopped before then.
Yeah.
Although Palisades, they were kind of due in a weird way just because every time I would drive by or near them, I'd be like, it's just a forest.
I know all like the canyon type things. Like they're very nerve wracking. Like it mostly is caused just because like the Santa Ana winds are so crazy. And so like when it's basically this time of year, like it just happens. But I feel like California's kind of or I guess more Southern California has kind of gotten away with it for the past 2 years. Like
it's gotten away with it for decades. The amount of things.
No, I mean like there wasn't a big fire in the past 2 years. I remember being like, shit, when's fire season starting the past 2 years? And like it hasn't really been. There's like little fires, but like
it just seems to me like something that shouldn't be a thing. You know?
Yeah, I'm against the fires in California.
It seems like I hear about a lot of, sounds like very reasonable solutions to the problem. And I don't really hear like very reasonable reasons why we can't do those solutions. So I'm just kind of waiting.
Yeah.
I feel like now because it's burning up all the billionaires and celebrities' homes, we might see some change.
Some change might happen.
We might actually see some change. Now that it's not just in the valley.
Now it's no longer just the poor.
It's just
the poor people.
The poors aren't. It's like, oh, so the poors will buy new stuff. How much does it even cost them? $12?
Yeah. How much could a banana cost?
Go see a Star Wars.
Yeah.
Now it's like, no, it's Chris Pratt's home. It's like, that was designed by blah, 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 blah. Famous person who did doors differently.
Yeah.
So it's expensive.
It is expensive.
One of a kind.
So I don't know. Maybe something will change this year, but I don't know. It's just scary. And you know what? And if you're a California listener, and this, I guess it'll come out in a few days. If they say to evacuate, just evacuate.
Oh yeah.
Like, don't play that game of the like, maybe I don't need to evacuate.
Yeah.
I've seen that too many times over my lifespan of people being like, I don't need to evacuate. Evacuate. It's not like a hurricane where they're like, it might not be that bad. Even hurricanes, I'm like, evacuate.
I'd compare it to a hurricane where it's like, it might not be that bad, but the difference is if it is bad, you burn alive.
It's fire.
If a hurricane, for the most part, and you should still evacuate, it's like you just get those videos of people sort of like sitting on a door like it's a boat.
Yeah.
And helicopters save them. And they're all kind of fine. It's kind of like, oh man, why'd you stay? Now you have to use wood in your house as a boat, but you're fine. Like, like
you have to use your house as a boat.
You have to use different items. You have to see, you'll find out what floats.
Yeah.
You don't have to like prepare for it. Like some stuff floats and you'll find out what stuff that is. Yeah. And then you'll sit on it and then we'll get great videos of you being helivacked.
Yeah.
Away.
What was the movie that came out that was like, it was basically like the
Rampage. You're thinking of Rampage.
No, the Alligator version of Sharknado. Basically, where they were like, there's a hurricane and then there's alligators everywhere and like basically everything's flooded and the alligators are just all over the city.
Oh, but it was like a drama. Like it was
I thought it was a sci-fi movie.
No, it might have been, but like Barry Pepper or like Jeremy Renner, like a real actor was in it. Like it was
really?
like,
yeah, I don't remember. I just remember the trailer and being like, yeah, that's so much scarier than sharks.
Didn't we watch that with my brother?
I don't think, maybe you did. I don't remember.
I swear, feel like it was during COVID and we were watching and there was just a thing where it was like the father, he had a troubled relationship with his daughter.
I think that's Sharknado.
No. Well, that's a lot of movies. It's a lot of movies if we're being honest.
And listeners, if you don't know, I actually was in Sharknado for 1 second.
I'm going to look this movie up. Well, let me see. Crawl.
Yes.
Crawl. Okay. It was Barry Pepper. An actor that only I would be like Barry Pepper.
Barry Pepper.
He's the sniper in Saving Private Ryan. He plays RFK in the TV miniseries The Kennedys, where Greg Kinnear plays JFK. Need I name more? He plays Roger Maris in 61. Okay, he's
all projects I'm very familiar with.
All like my favorite movies. Honestly, those are like three things that. There's a guy. I like to think that there's like. I think we have mostly a female audience. But I like to think that there's a few people listening who are like, it's just me.
Yeah.
And they're like, fucking love 61.
Yeah.
Plays Roger Maris. He's so good. 2019 movie.
Yeah.
And that's my ultimate fear. Being in your house or being like, in any sort of enclosed space and being like, I get from here to there and there's alligators. I feel like sharks, I can kind of.
No, that's the thing is like sharks.
I could kind of maybe outmaneuver.
You can get around that.
Yeah.
Just be on something that's not the water.
Yeah. Alligators can get on that thing.
Have you seen oh my God, I meant to send this to you yesterday. I think it's in Indonesia. Alligators are trying to trick people into getting in the water.
The drowning
They
thing?
roll over and
Fuck
so
that.
their little hands look like people hands. They're evolving.
No, yeah.
What the hell?
Animals are learning. Yeah, so if you don't know, basically there's videos of alligators in the ocean. I think it's the ocean.
Or some sort of
crocodiles.
big water. I don't know.
I think it's crocodiles.
Yeah.
But crocodiles in the ocean.
Could be lakes.
Could be lakes. Any sort of body of water will do.
It's a body of water.
It could be a pond. It could be a lake. It could be whatever. A delta.
But not a ravine.
Certainly not. Certainly not. It could be a tributary. What's a could be a
It couldn't be a creek. It was way too big to be a creek.
could be a song. Isn't that a type?
I think so too.
Or no, a sound.
Sound.
Could be
sound,
a sound.
sound.
It could be on.
Or isn't a sound like technically the island thing?
They're all technically something.
Like I think it's the land portion, not the water.
Just off the sound. It could be just off the
Just
sound.
off the sound.
It could be, and I'm thinking of that one poster that a poster where it's every different type of geographic thing. If that's okay, oh my God. If you were like, hey, we need to get one poster, that's weirdly on the top of my list of like, I look at that thing probably once a month.
One poster. If I were to ever say we need one poster, that's the poster you're choosing.
One poster.
I'm choosing Hang in There with the cat.
I'm in for that too. I really like that as well. I like at her old job. I remember my boss was like, you should like decorate the office.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Make it lively.
And I was like, you didn't hire me. Like, I really hope you didn't think like that was one of the things I would bring to the table.
Yeah.
Was my interior decorating.
Skill?
And he was like, this is the budget. And I was like, trying to think about what. And I was like, it'd be really funny if I just had those corporate, like depressing, like teamwork. Like it's where I'm going to describe it. It's a picture, but even more than that, there's like a large black frame around the picture.
Yes, it's always framed.
On the bottom is some word, and then underneath it, italicized, is some quote. And it's like teamwork makes the dream work. And it's a picture of like a person of every different race and ethnicity, like all holding a saw
I
together.
like the one that's like, what? Because I know there's one that's like a lightning strike.
Oh, I know what you're talking about too.
And,
yeah.
and I feel like it just is one word under it. Or so, but maybe it's a quote.
Anyway, what does it say now?
The alligators.
So alligators, I feel like I could outmaneuver a shark. You're right, like being above land. But to just be like, okay, I see the alligator, and so I'm not going to get in the water and be like, shit, it's coming towards me. All right, just stand. Nope, now it's climbing up on this thing.
Yeah.
Now I guess I'll get in the water. And he's like, that's what I wanted you to do in the first place.
You to do.
So I can bite you and then do the roll thing.
Yeah.
Bring you to the bottom.
Yeah, I don't want that.
No.
That was, I would say, the plot hole in Sharknado. Not that it's not an absolutely perfect movie with
Wait,
no
what
flaws.
that was the plot hole?
The plot hole was the sharks basically falling on land, still wanting to eat people.
And not dying from the sudden impact?
Yeah.
That didn't really make... let's reverse it.
The chainsaw scene at the very end, completely believable. Okay?
Well, the chainsaw scene... if I'm remembering the scene correctly, is that where the shark falls and he has a chainsaw and it's like, dude, why don't you just step 7 feet away? You have like 20 seconds.
But he has a chainsaw. There's a shark flying towards him, and he, from Ian Ziering, the star of Sharknado. I'm
gonna call him Ian. I don't care that he goes by Ian.
Maybe he does now. I don't even know. I've heard people say Ian, so maybe
I think it is Ian, but
I don't know. Anyway, anywhoops.
Yeah.
He has a chainsaw. LA is raining sharks, and he just starts the chainsaw and he just jumps into the mouth of the shark, and he cuts himself out of the shark, and that's like the conclusion to the movie, as if that one. But then the twist is
that one shark
had
already eaten someone, right?
Someone from their squad that had already been eaten, or like his daughter or something like that.
So how did he? If that one shark, did the fella ate something? How did one shark end up back in the Sharknado?
I think maybe the tornado picked it back up.
So maybe
I'm telling you, no plot holes.
I know. Actually, that kind of solves a plot hole for me. Then of like, okay, so maybe these sharks are just surviving the Sharknado, and they're like, yeah, I might as well eat before I get picked up by the Sharknado again.
Yeah.
So if it happens,
burning a lot of calories. This is a high stress.
It happens enough. It's no longer kind of scary to them.
Yeah.
They might as well.
Yeah, maybe that's what happened.
The best part of Sharknado, and I do mean the best, is they shot it where there's a CGI Sharknado in the middle of LA, but they didn't have the budget to like clear the streets, obviously. So it's just a drone shot of LA, normal LA Monday traffic.
Like literally cars are just on the road.
Like people are walking on the sidewalks, holding hands, like looking at their phones, as a Sharknado just like tears like 40 feet away from them, and nobody's...
There's no sense of chaos.
People are waiting at green lights or waiting at red lights.
Yeah.
People are stopping at stop signs, and it's just like, could you not get any like CGI the LA?
Yeah.
If you're going to do it, make an animated movie. That would make more sense.
I don't know. But I mean, they went on to make several more Sharknadoes, so maybe the budget went up.
Yeah, maybe we're wrong.
Yeah. You know, I think I saw Sharknado 2. I don't think I saw 3 through 5.
Oh, you're missing. Those are the.
This is the best.
So you don't know how it ends.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Maybe they're still making more.
We'll stop talking now.
Should I ask to be in another one?
I think they'd say yes.
So because I wasn't like in the movie. I was an extra. Like because you live in LA, that's what you do when you're a kid is I'm going to take extra jobs. So when I was like 13, I like got this casting call to be an extra in like a sci-fi movie. It was like $50, you know.
Done.
This girl's clocking in.
Done.
Skipping school.
Boom.
And it was called Dark Skies originally. Like that was like the casting call for it.
That sounds like a much more serious movie.
Yes, but then later another movie that year came out called Dark Skies. So they just were like pivot Sharknado.
Best thing that could have happened to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I literally was just in that movie for like 1 second. It's just I'm one of the kids on the bus, and it cuts to me for 1 second. I just go, and that's it. Like it's
you're
1 sec.
You're playing it down. You're being humble.
I mean, it was an award-winning performance.
I wasn't afraid until I saw how afraid you were.
Yeah.
And then I was like, wait, then I should probably be scared too.
I should be scared.
Whatever's coming.
But don't worry, because
I should be
Zero
scared.
saved us. So
There was like a bus on a bridge again.
it was beneath the bridge. He decided to propel down from the bridge.
Yeah.
And like bring out each kid one by one on his little zip line.
Was there water underneath the bridge?
Yes, it was like flooding.
So that was fake.
No, it was so real. They flooded the streets. What do you mean?
Okay, so they flooded. I was saying like there's no like
They didn't flood the
There's
streets.
not like flowing water in LA.
Yeah.
Which is why there are all these fires there.
And it was there was no permits to shoot that scene. I remember that very specifically. It was that we had to call the day short.
They decided to flood part of.
No, they didn't actually flood it. I was kidding.
Oh, it's CGI?
Yeah.
Water? Okay. But still, though, they decided to shoot.
They literally had a hose like this raining over the
I love
the
it.
bus.
Okay, I'm loving this, though.
Yeah, it was great.
I absolutely love it. There's this one sci-fi movie that I can't. Try Googling. Try to find a sci-fi movie. It's impossible because you're like, is it Crocosaurus versus Iguanodon? Honestly, that might be the one I'm thinking of. I don't know if I Googled that. Or maybe I've Googled it many times. Basically, there's this one scene that I think about all the time because we used to watch sci-fi movies as kids. And by sci-fi, I mean the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah.
Very different from science fiction like Blade Runner and other overrated crap that people
they're the channel that made Sharknado. Like they have very small budget.
Small budget, but great concept, brilliant concept.
Although
What?
Resident Alien came from Sci-Fi.
Yeah.
That was a great fucking show.
Well,
if anyone needs a show recommendation, Resident Alien was great.
Well, there was like a year where the AMC channel was basically like hey, it's a bonus channel. And then in 1 year, they came out with Breaking Bad and Mad Men. And it was like, so they're a player now.
Yeah.
And then I think they just stopped.
AMC, I think, had Walking Dead too.
And Walking Dead.
Yeah.
But it was all like the same like years
Yeah.
where, and then did they just, I think they just stopped.
They focused on those and then they all kind of ended.
Maybe whoever the executive went to like HBO.
Is The Walking Dead still going?
Apparently just, they keep walking.
Give up.
At a certain point,
Give up.
I'm a zombie. Make me a zombie.
How many seasons of The Walking Dead do we need? Give up. Why do we want to live so bad?
They're never happy, so it seems.
No, that's no way to live.
It's really no way to live.
Man, I would have just no will in an apocalyptic situation.
I know. I'd be a quick like, what's the point?
Yeah. I mean, I could go for a while, but if I'm like, there's no end in sight. Like,
I'd have to be very much like, I'm doing this for. I'd be looking really eagerly for a way to sacrifice myself for the team.
Yeah.
It'd almost be a selfish sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. But anyway, this one scene in Crocosaurus versus Iguanodon, I think. Which, by the way, that's probably not it, but it's like Mega Shark versus Mega Octopus. Like, it's just all these big animals fighting each other.
I know. I think there was one that was like the Yeti versus Bigfoot.
I mean, that's just a classic, though.
Yeah.
They made many of those. But anyway, one scene, there's one guy, and like the Iguanodon or something comes up, and he has a handgun, and he just shoots the thing for like 12 minutes. It just never runs out of bullets.
Wait, I think I've seen this scene online. Yeah.
There we go, guys, go. Go. Behind the tree. Just, he never stops. And it made me cry laughing. I remember as a kid being like, I don't think it was even on purpose. I don't think they were like, you're not watching Squid Games. I'm so deep into Squid Games right now.
I'm not watching Squid Games just makes me uncomfortable.
Man, I watch it. So I watch it on silent, which is great because I don't have to deal with either subtitles or they're like voiceovers, which those kind of drive me nuts. I'm watching it for like 30 minutes before I go to bed on silent.
Does that not like get you riled up before you go to bed though?
It really does.
Yeah.
There are certain scenes where it's like, usually I'm like, okay, I'm good. But then there are some scenes where it's like, the whole thing is just like watching people play Russian roulette.
Yeah.
That's basically the show. The funniest part of it though, by the way, I just have to say this, is it makes South Korea look wonderful in the sense that they're like tough guys. Like it starts off with the main character. He's basically teamed up with like the South Korean mob, like their mafia, trying to find the game so he can put a stop to it. The South Korea looks lovely because their mafia is like adorable and friendly and giggly. Like they don't seem tough at all. Like the main mafia guy kind of seems like a goober.
Yeah. I love that.
I love it.
They're kind of like, I feel like it's like the vibe, like they're kind of like gamer cool type thing. Like do they have like the colored hair?
Well, not the mafia guys.
I was just curious.
There are a lot of those guys, like their characters where it's like they're the ones competing in the games where like they're the cool ones. They'll have like dyed hair and like kind of their punk rock version thing, but the K-pop people all look like, but they're mafia people. Basically, they're just kind of chubbier.
Yeah.
And that's like really how you know they're mafia, because the rest of what they talk about, they're just really friendly.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, what a great place to live. Where what does the mafia do there? Like, resell things they're not supposed to sell, flip houses. Like it really seems like that's kind of that's the impression I'm getting from they're just sometimes fight people with their fists. Like, it's nothing too crazy.
Yeah. It's not really a real.
Who would have thought it?
It's not the Italians.
Squid Games 2 is actually an advertisement for South Korea.
I was going to say Squid Games actually just reminded me of David Dobrik is back.
I never watched any of his stuff.
I was heavy into them. I loved the Vlog Squad. And there's still like certain members of it I still like follow pretty closely. Not all of them, but
certainly not all of them.
Certainly not all of them. But anyway, so David Dobrik made a big comeback video. It was 14 minutes long because normally he does 4 minutes and 20 seconds. LOL. But it ended with like Mr. Beast was in the video. And I was like, is that good PR for Mr. Beast? Or is he like, who cares?
I think he is like, who cares? And I also think if I was David Dobrik, now is the time to ask, where it's like, hey, you get it. You've been in hot water.
Yeah, I just feel like Mr. Beast is kind of currently in hot water, it feels like. And so
he needs to just get more in front of and again, I almost worked there.
I know.
And
this isn't like shit talking Mr. Beast. I was just like, I just thought it was an interesting choice.
There's a world where I work there at some point in the future too. So I don't know. But like, to me, I think doing this is the best thing he actually probably could do, is what I would recommend, where it's like, no, be a person.
Yeah.
Like the one challenge that all of these, huge YouTube channels, because that's what it is. It starts off as a huge YouTube channel and then it expands and it grows and it builds this sort of like big business thing. The one challenge they have is they kind of lose the soul of why people followed you in the beginning. It's why for like Barstool Sports, it's like, I don't really follow it as much anymore. I used to, when I got my last car, that came with like 6 months of Sirius XM free.
Yes.
And there was a Barstool Sports radio channel, and it was like my type of gossip. It was basically like all day they would just kind of like tell you the gossip around the office. They would rarely talk about sports. Yeah. And so every now and then I'd be like, well, I got to know what this is. And the whole time Dave Portnoy was like, well, yeah, I made a ton of money. I'm out. I'm going to be out in 2 years. He's never going to leave, because the second he leaves, it's kind of over.
It's over.
He's
Barstool.
He's Barstool. He's the personality. So I think it's the same thing with Mr. Beast, where it's like, he just sort of needs to be in other people's content and be like, oh yeah, I'm a human being. I'm not some corporate entity. Yeah.
Cause it kind of feels like that seems to be the move with like a lot of these like companies and people like that, where it's like they start as like one or a couple people, and then eventually it gets so big, and like they're like, what's the direction of this? I'm no longer just going to do this forever, even though it's the heart and soul. And so they kind of do the thing where they're like, how can we almost like form like a squad or like a cast, and like, because it's like obviously like Barstool's done that, where it's like they basically just have an office full of people. It became its own like ecosystem. Like Smosh did it, where it was like there were two guys, and then they were like, okay, now we have a cast, and like, and now the cast is kind of more forward facing than the other guy. Like it kind of feels like that's what.
If you as a media company can somehow find a way to make yourself the story, it makes things so much easier because you don't have to look for other stories.
Yeah.
Now it's just a circle of just like, we make a bunch of money. Now let's make drama about us making a bunch of money.
Yes.
You're upset. Okay, that makes us more money that you're upset. Let's make t-shirts that are Team Michaela and t-shirts that are Team Jack.
Yeah.
We'll sell those. Mine sells more. So now I'm upset because I should be getting a larger cut. Like it's just sort of, I've always thought like that's a really good business model.
Yes.
If you can become the story.
If you could become, it's interesting.
You have to cover anything else.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought it was interesting that David Dobrik came back because he's been obviously laying low since I don't know if everyone followed the whole like Jeff Wittek situation.
So was that it? Was it just that he blinded his friend?
Yeah, it was that.
I mean,
and that was actually, if I remember correctly, that actually happened while that they were trying to make a comeback video. Like that whole incident of basically Jeff Wittek being slandered to the crane was
because they had like sexual allegations, right?
Yeah, because there was another
underage
guy
drinking.
Yeah, where there was like a whole lot of stuff that was kind of going on, which like
you're telling me that some YouTubers are creeps?
I know.
This is blowing my mind.
I know. But like not to be like an apologist because I'm definitely not an apologist, obviously. But it's like I do think that there was a lot that were like everyone held them kind of to this crazy high standard when it was like they kind of are just like people who just all moved to LA. There's a guy with a camera, and of course, a bunch of people want to come over and party with them. Like it's kind of it gets out of hand very easily. And
what do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, and not like because like the main guy who was like centered around like he was the creep or whatever, like the Dirty Dom guy. What a guy named Dirty Dom?
I know, it's crazy.
Turned out to be a creep.
Crazy.
But like. It felt kind of like an unmanageable situation, and also like I feel like David Dobrik got like a lot of slack for or stuff like that, where it's like again, of course. You don't want to ever be a bystander, but like he was at the time like 20 when he came out, and the rest of his friends were like kind of older, and they were the ones drinking. Like he never drank on camera. Like it was the dynamic was different. But then obviously when he then got bigger and like other shit start going on, it's like okay, now you should be held more responsible. But like after that, he kind of took a break. I think what happened was they were trying to make a comeback vlog, and then that's when the Jeff Wittek accident happened, and so he never came back.
Talk about a comeback.
I know. I know. And so he's just been laying low since then because obviously Jeff Wittek is like still very publicly pissed.
You took my
rightfully.
eye.
So he's had so many surgeries. I feel terrible for him.
It's an absolute nightmare. And it is one of those things too, where it's like, I don't know. Cause it's like, they weren't Jackass.
No.
Like Jackass.
They weren't Jackass, but they were,
But they were doing Jackass level
shit.
stuff.
Yeah.
Without the one Jackass level consent of doing that stuff. Also just sort of the expertise.
Yeah.
Like I always think about that too, where it's like in Jackass, they'll be like, oh, this person's trying to ride a grocery cart downstairs or whatever. It's like that person's a professional skateboarder.
Yeah.
Like he's used to falling right. He also probably can ride something down a thing.
And like there's a difference between it's so interesting because it's like we worked in YouTube for so long that like there are different types of channels that like make equal money.
Yes.
But like so you could do like the David Dobrik route where it's like he of course has people working for him, like his managers, assistants or whatever, but like
he doesn't need
he's not a company. It was just he was always filming his friends. But then there was like a Mr. Beast where it's like making equal money, but he has a company. Like he has like production people. They're going to make sure like they're working with all the regulations with that money. But then there's David Dobrik who's like, I'm a guy with the camera and I edit my videos. Like it's very different vibes.
One of the coolest things when I was in North Carolina for the Mr. Beast thing was that I loved was they were like, okay, so we're going to do this crazy thing. And they're like, okay, where should we do that? And they're like, well, there's that one field, like we can definitely get approval to do it. Cause but just like, they're going to get approval.
They're going to get approval.
And they have tons of space where it's like, nobody uses this field except for us. We'll get approval and we can make a car explode.
Yeah.
Like that's fine. You can't do that in LA without, well, you could never do that in LA because just the amount of permits and everything is crazy. But the whole thing, it gave me anxiety watching the crane video. Cause I was just like, ugh.
I know.
Why do you have anybody who's not a crane operator operating this crane?
Yeah. No, it was very stupid. And so that's why it like, I do have the conflicting feelings, but it's like he handled it wrong. Cause I'm like, accidents obviously happen, of course. Like what I'd like
accidents happen, but like
and he was being so irresponsible.
If I was him, and I know it's like, oh, putting yourself in those shoes.
Hindsight,
But I genuinely can say if I was him, where I make a ton of fucking money, the Jeff Wittek guy's not paying for a single thing.
No. And
I'd feel so guilty.
That's exactly what happened though, was like, it
kind of didn't, right?
Because I think he didn't, like, I think he started to in the beginning, and then I think they started to have more of a fallout, and then I think he basically stopped because I think he
was like, fuck you.
I think this is what I'm assuming happened. This is not anywhere. I'm assuming they were fine, and then when things started getting weird between them, I think David Dobrik probably was told to like pull back.
Don't admit guilt.
Because you're admitting guilt. And then because he's a DACA kid, he doesn't want to get kicked out of the country for like crimes. Like, I think that's...
Yeah.
And so I think it kind of turned into like a shitty like liability situation.
Where's he from originally? Not like Albania, but like some Eastern Europe.
Slovakia or something like that. Like, yeah. I forget. But yeah, so I just don't know. Like, it was just very interesting to see that like he's back and he's doing like a full... He's back thing. Like he's
ripped now, right?
Yeah. He lost weight, got ripped. And then... But like it seems like he's coming back with vlogs and he's coming back with his podcast with Jason Nash, which cheers to Jason Nash.
Guy, he's like, isn't he like 50 with like kids in college?
Yeah.
And he needs the money?
I think he needs the money. He because I watched part of the video, he hands him the microphone like in like a gift box to be like, we're gonna start the podcast again. Jason Nash just starts crying.
Of course.
And I was like, he's probably so relieved.
He's like, he was like when they stopped, he was like, I'm used to nice things. Like,
yeah.
I am really leveraged out.
Yes.
I have a lot of money I got to pay back.
Yes.
Oh, I have it here, by the way. I literally wrote this down last week. So Tom Holland was on like the cover of like Men's Health. Did you see the cover?
I think I did. I'm trying to remember.
I love when they do this where it's like, this celebrity is sort of like just...
Oh yeah, let's just turn the contrast up really high on their picture.
Well, no, he's just sort of, let me describe it. He's in like looks like an auto body shop, all greased up, clearly been working all day, sleeveless shirt, dark blue jeans. I think I noticed, there's like sort of a rag. Like, you know how the common man, the common working man. I just love when they have like celebrities like LARP, like he's a working man. If he's ever worked on a car.
Ever.
This is a long day of work.
Yeah.
Is what he's looking like. He's looking like this is the end of a shift.
Yeah, I love the celebrities cosplaying blue collar workers.
It's like, dude, you're like a Brit. You did like a British dancer.
Yeah.
What are we doing? It's anytime like Drake tries to act all gangster, it's like, you're a Canadian Jewish guy, former child actor. Why are you acting?
You played the kid in the wheelchair on Degrassi.
Why are you acting like you are on the same page as even Eminem? Like anybody the rest of the rap community, why are you acting like we're the same? I mean, literally, Kendrick Lamar came with a song saying not alike because they're not. He's a Jewish Canadian guy.
Yeah, you're not like us.
I think Tom Holland's big break was he was in Billy Elliot. Do you know that Billy Elliot is?
No.
It's a play about a kid. In Modern Family, he just wants to dance.
Oh, yes.
It's a play about a kid. It's basically what High School Musical ripped off, where he wants to do the ballet, and they're like, no, that's gay. Yeah. He's like, but I want to dance. He was Billy Elliot. He was not in the auto body shop.
Yeah, no, he was not. And
I'm not knocking him at all. I just, every time they do that,
they always
it's so
do
funny
that.
to me.
Or they're like, let's have you cosplay.
There's so many other sexy themes you could do.
I know.
Yeah.
I mean, and I didn't call it. I was going to say I called it. Him and Zendaya got engaged, but what I called was that they weren't going to announce their engagement. They
didn't.
That's true. They didn't. It just kind of seems it's public information now.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, they're not going to announce it, and they're just going to go straight to Vogue wedding.
I love Tom Holland.
Me too.
I
think they're cute. I'm glad that they're getting married.
I don't think they should get married.
No.
I don't think British and Americans shouldn't.
Yeah, it's wrong.
I just don't think it's right.
Yeah.
You know, call me old fashioned.
You should stay with your kind.
Stay with your kind. Yeah. You know, the Brits should marry the Brits, and the Americans should marry Americans. I don't know. That's just me.
Yeah.
I guess call me old fashioned. Say I'm offensive.
I'm
against that type of stuff.
But Nikki Glaser did fabulous at the Golden Globes.
She
did really, really well. That was definitely like up her alley.
That's a fastball for her.
Yeah, like closer to like the roast thing where it's like it's a tight set. It's not stand up.
It kind of literally is a roast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she killed it in like ways where it was like she wasn't like too PC, but made fun of everyone in like a friendly way. Like it was. Yeah. She did it perfectly. Like she did amazing, and like I feel like she's actually gonna be asked back to do plenty of other award shows after this because she did so good.
What I like about the Golden Globes,
all of her looks were fab.
The Golden Globes, unlike every other award show, it seems, they're like, if you work as the host, you're the host until you're not.
Until you're not.
Because they had
Joe Coy last year.
That didn't work.
No, that did not. Everyone was pissed.
But Ricky Gervais did it for like 7 years. And then Tina Fey and Amy Poehler did it for like 7 years. And they were both really good. And they were kind of like like Ricky Gervais would do it 1 year and then Tina and Amy would do it. And they were all really, really good.
Yeah. So I think Nikki Glaser's got a spot now. Like,
yeah.
She was well received all around.
Absolutely. No, that's definitely what she does well. That one Ricky Gervais one though, where he's like, this is my last one, so I don't care. The reason why it's so good, people like all the internet conspiracy theorists love it because he's basically calling them all out, which he was. But the reason why I like it is because he keeps on saying like, they're like kind of like nobody's laughing. He's like, I don't care. Like again, I don't care.
Yeah.
That you are uncomfortable right now.
Yes.
I just like that he keeps on calling out. It's like me, a real mechanic.
Yeah.
A real blue collar guy.
I saw Nikki Glaser went on Howard Stern the next day, and she basically read all the jokes that the network was like, you can't do this one, or they cut for other reasons or whatever. And one of them that she just was like, I don't want to piss anyone off was she was like, oh, and we're all going to get out of here as quickly as we can tonight because everyone wants to avoid Dax Shepard asking you to be on on his podcast.
That's really good. That's really good.
But quickly, so we can get into sports goss. I'll keep it brief, but my quick rant was about Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner.
Okay, go on.
Everyone needs to get their panties out of a goddamn bunch.
Because people are upset.
People are
upset with Timothy.
Oh my God, how can he like her? Blah, blah, blah.
Lowering himself down to dating a hot billionaire.
Literally, she is a billionaire.
Yeah.
She's really likable. Like all the people who give her a chance love her because she is funny.
You know what? Let's pause really quick though. We're going to take back billionaire. We're going to call her very wealthy woman. People get really worked up with her. She's not actually a billionaire.
And it's like, is she
we'll
fucking
pull back.
is.
We'll pump the brakes down. Does it? You want very, very extreme wealth, generational, hundreds of millions of dollars in net worth. Continue.
Yeah. She's a billionaire with B.
You keep on putting a name and then people are going to just be talking about the billionaire thing.
But I'll defend it.
Okay.
I'll defend it. So I could fight for that. But everyone is just so, I just love the whole, like, everyone's a feminist until it comes to the Kardashians thing because they're like, oh, they have plastic surgery and this and that. It's like, what happened to letting people make choices for their body and all that
Women
stuff?
aren't hypocrites. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, never.
No, women would never be hypocritical about anything.
Like, it just always when it comes to the Kardashians, everything's their fault. It's never the men they're with. Like, I can talk for days about that. But there
is something too, and I've gone on this rant before. They have terrible choice in men.
Oh, absolutely.
Specifically, Khloe.
Yes.
But we'll continue.
But Kylie Jenner is a girl who gives bare minimum to the Kardashians because she does live a very private life because everyone bullies her.
Yeah.
She does her business. Like, she's the definition
She's a very committed mother.
Yeah. Like, she's the definition of when people are like, oh, if I had all that money, like, I wouldn't just sit around. Like, I'd do something. She did. Like, before she turned 18, she was like, I'm going to start a makeup line. Like, I don't know. I love her. Anyhow, so I might be biased, but I just hate the online discourse of people being like, what do they even talk about? What are they this? It's like, do you think that hot girls are one dimensional and like don't have thoughts and feelings and opinions just because she's a fake butt?
And do you think Timothée Chalamet is the characters he plays in movies? He's not actually Bob Dylan.
He's a guy who, sure, he might be a good actor. I haven't seen one of his movies yet, but he is a guy.
He's not actually a twink living in the French Riviera for Armie Hammer to come and hook up with. Of
course, he has the opportunity to date this hot ass, likable, fun girl she's a mom, she has businesses, and people are like, I can't believe he stooped to that level. Why? Why? 'Cause she has some plastic surgery?
It's because, and this is a thing that I've noticed. I've noticed it. He's kind of an alt guy in the sense of like the way that like fucking Pete Wentz, like the real like alt rock star guys were in like the 2000s or something, where it sort of felt like, no, he's not a jock. He's not like, he's not going to go for the conventionally, he's going to go for somebody like me, like someone in the books that you read. Yeah. Someone with the curly hair.
She's different. She's different.
She says random things, basically the most annoying millennial things you could possibly ever say.
Or like, she's so artsy. She's different. And
she's
you know
so
what?
artsy,
He
she's
might
a
like
Pinterest
those girls
board.
too, but but why are we assigning him this thing? Like, what they've been quietly dating for like 2 years now. Like it's been a minute.
I really do think it's that thing though of like people put certain famous people in a box, and God forbid they aren't that who they think they are.
Yeah.
It's a real negative to them.
And I think he has, because he's such like a female fan base. I think everyone was like, okay, he's like this non-threatening artsy guy. He's likable. He has all this personality. Like it's like that you're not a jock thing. It's like you're very safe.
Yeah.
And so the fact
he's not going to go with the prom queen.
He's not going to go with the popular hot girl or whatever.
He's going to go with the nerdy bookworm.
Yeah. They don't like that. Who's
on the internet commenting about shit.
Yeah.
He's not going to go for you.
Like,
no.
Of course he's going to go for Kylie Jenner. She's such a catch. I mean, she's like one of the biggest catches in Hollywood. It's crazy.
Yeah. When we started dating, I got a lot of flack for that as well. They're like, you're supposed to be, people look at me. They
think that you're so artsy.
They say this guy, if he went to the Golden Globes, he would wear something besides a black suit with maybe a wacky tie.
Yeah.
That's what they all say. And then when they found out, they saw me dating you, they're like, that. They started hating on you.
Yeah.
They said, that bitch, what did they even talk about?
Yeah.
Then we said, listen to the podcast.
I don't know. So I'm just always, I'll defend the Kardashians forever. When people, the only time I'm like, okay, you could not like them is when people are like, Kim Kardashian did cornrows. I'm like, totally get that.
Okay, you ready for sports gossip?
Hit me, sister.
All right, so if you haven't seen this segment before, I love sports. You don't love sports. Mainly it's been about football lately, but that's really just because it's football season. I love football. You don't love football. I've learned that the only way to get you into football, into sports, is if I tell it to you, if I give you the news like it's gossip.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to be doing something kind of fun today. It's going to be a little bit different.
Okay.
So the NFL playoffs are upon us. They're going to start this weekend.
Oh, goody.
Honestly, goody for you, because that means there's less NFL games. And it's like, it's kind of like how we just passed the winter solstice. And so every day gets longer.
A little bit longer.
The sun's out a little bit more.
Yeah.
You get more cheerful or whatever. You do. It's nice when it's not dark at 4 p.m., which it currently is. It's kind of like that where it's like, once the playoff starts, there's an end in sight, and you'll have me back on Sundays, Thursday evenings, Mondays, sometimes Saturdays, and on Christmas that one Wednesday. Like you'll have me back.
Do you mean I'll have a husband again?
You'll have a husband again on days that aren't just Tuesday and Friday. Yes. When I have to get a lot of work done because I've been watching football all week. Okay. So we're going to be doing something fun. So the playoffs are upon us. I have the playoff bracket. Okay. We know what teams made it, what teams didn't. We're going to go through. I don't know if you've ever seen, because sports gambling's so big right now, there's like a lot of times, like there's a common saying where it's like, oh, who won your fantasy football league? Oh, it was Becky in accounting who knows nothing about football. She just picked people based off of if they smiled or not.
Yes.
That's a famous story of somebody who only picked, it was like my wife's team won. She only picked players where in their player profile they were smiling.
And you know what? Like that's a strategy.
They like ran through the league. And then there's always like the who won March Madness, and it's like my wife.
Yeah.
She just picked randomly. So we're going to do this, and then our listeners can basically put this in a big old parlay and make a ton of money because you're about to tell us what happens in the NFL playoffs.
Okay. I'm going to pick based on vibes, basically.
Pick based on vibes.
Okay.
We'll go through each pick a little bit too.
Always trust a woman's intuition.
Exactly. Okay. Up first, we'll start with the NFC. This is in the first round, aka the wild card round. The Philadelphia Eagles are playing the Green Bay Packers. Who do you think is going to win that game?
Eagles.
Any reason why?
I was going to say Packers, but I feel like I saw Aaron Rodgers running at me in a bad dream, and I was like, done. I don't want him.
Fun fact, he doesn't play for the Packers anymore. He plays for the Jets.
Shit, you're right.
But you said Eagles still. Are you still feeling Eagles? You can switch it, but now that you know that Aaron Rodgers does not play for the Packers, which you should know because we've done probably 5 sports gossips about the Jets.
Do you think I'm listening?
I assume so.
Just kidding, I am. There's just too much.
Eagles or Packers?
I'm going to go Eagles. I'm just going to go because I said it. I feel like I just have to go with it.
I love it. Okay, so Eagles. Next up, we have the Washington Commanders versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Commanders.
Any reason why?
I have a feeling.
You have a feeling. I like it's honestly that's all it takes. You're also. What are your thoughts on Baker Mayfield? Because you know who he is.
I do know who Baker Mayfield
his name
is.
Yeah.
I know that he was moved around. Mm-hmm. He wasn't given a shot, and then
he got a shot.
He needed a team that supported him better.
And that was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And
you think he's going to lose? Okay.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Hey, you know what? It's why we watch the game. You know, you don't just root for storylines. Okay. The Los Angeles Rams versus the Minnesota Vikings.
Vikings.
Vikings? Any reason why?
I just don't feel like the Rams have it in them.
I love that.
I feel like I've just heard very little about them from you, so I assume that means not too much is going on.
You know what? There's nothing the Rams love more. There's nothing Sean McVay loves more than when people think of him as an underdog. Which right now, technically he is, even though they're the higher seed. Okay. The Washington Commanders versus the Detroit Lions.
Lions.
Okay. That's a good move.
I want them to win.
They'll be the favorite there. Okay. The Minnesota Vikings versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
Eagles.
Again, any reason?
No.
No. Okay. Okay.
I feel like the spirits are speaking to me right now.
Yes. All right. That's what we want to go with. We want your women's intuition.
I need like an Etsy witch to like pull off some stuff for me.
Okay.
I'm going to do that for an episode. I'm going to hire an Etsy like witch or like psychic to do something for you.
They sell themselves on Etsy?
Yes. You can get a service from them on Etsy.
On Etsy?
Yeah. So if you're like, I need you to like, this person needs a curse on them.
You basically, okay.
You can pay them to, curse someone.
Women are hysterical.
I should do the one where there's some people that you could pay to have them draw your spouse.
Ooh.
Like who are you going to end up with or whatever.
Yeah. I love that.
And then it'd just be funny if it was like neither of us get each other.
The problem is you're pretty Googleable.
That's true.
So they're like, let me see if she is married. If you type in Mikhail Pascal, if you type in Jack O'Shea, the first thing is Jack O'Shea wife.
That's actually girlfriend. But
Girlfriend. Well,
I'm a wife.
Wife. Okay. And then to find out who's going to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC, we have the Lions versus the Eagles. Who's going to the Super Bowl?
I want it to be the Lions, so I'm saying the Lions.
The Lions? You know what? They're the favorite. The Eagles might be the favorite in that. We'll see. We'll see how they play in the previous games. All right. Okay. Now to the AFC. Who's going to face the Lions in the Super Bowl? That's what we're going to find out. The Buffalo Bills versus the Denver Broncos.
Gonna go Bills?
You love Josh Allen. You love Haley Steinfeld. That works. That works.
I was going to say Josh Allen. I feel like seems like a strong.
They're the heavy favorites
player.
In this game.
Are they? Okay, because I couldn't remember if the Bills were like
so good.
They're
very good.
Okay.
The Broncos like just barely made it, but they're a really exciting team right now.
But the Broncos are Kylie, right?
The Broncos are the Kylie of the AFC West, yes.
So that's why I was like, they might surprise us.
They could surprise us. They actually could. I mean, they've surprised us all season. They've had a rookie quarterback, and he might win the Rookie of the Year. And the fact that it's even close is crazy because Jaden Daniels, as you know, has been phenomenal. Houston Texans versus Los Angeles Chargers.
Texans.
That's a really...
No.
No, you said it. This is the point. Because
okay.
No, this is the point. Because...
I want to take that one back, though.
No, because I would say... No, that's why you shouldn't. Because I would say the Chargers. But I'm going to get a lot of these games wrong.
But I just said it because I first was thinking the Rams when I heard Los Angeles again. And I was just like, no.
I love how you're so down on the Rams when I think the Rams are probably better than the Chargers are anyway.
I don't know. The Rams just... I think just because the Rams just like came to LA out of nowhere. I was like, what are you guys doing
You'll
here?
get them in like diminutive fashion.
Yeah.
They're like, eh. Okay. And then finally, Baltimore Ravens versus Pittsburgh Steelers.
I'm going to go Ravens.
That's the smart move there too.
That's my team.
Ravens are your team. Okay.
I need a Ray Lewis jersey.
You do need a Ray Lewis jersey. We're going to get you all the jerseys of the really tough middle linebackers, especially the ones who may have murdered someone. Okay. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This will be the most hyped up game, arguably the most hyped up game in the playoffs.
Because I'm not fully convinced, but slightly convinced the NFL scripted it'll be Chiefs.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Houston Texans versus Buffalo Bills.
Bills.
I love that as well. Okay. AFC Championship. Again, this might get more views than the Super Bowl. It won't, but it could be close. The Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. This is the real matchup everybody wants. Mahomes versus Josh Allen. Who's going to win it, baby?
See, I want it to be Bills, but I think it's going to be Chiefs.
Okay, so we're in the Super Bowl. Detroit Lions versus Kansas City Chiefs. Who's taking home the Lombardi Trophy?
Sorry, would you say Lions versus Chiefs?
Lions versus Chiefs.
I'm just going to put it out there, Lions.
Lions. You heard it here first. If you're listening, these are all locks. So I can go through the list.
Should I go bet on this?
I genuinely might do it. Like this feels like one of those things where it's like it just happens. Okay, other sports gossip. I just want to do that really quick so that we can have that out there so that if anytime it's like, you ever see like anytime like a celebrity dies, one person's tweet, like they'll literally there's so many tweets. Mm-hmm. One person will have tweeted like 12 hours earlier, like, I feel like something's going to happen
to so-and-so
to Joan Rivers. I was like, what's that name? It's like, I feel like something weird's going to happen to Joan Rivers soon. And then Joan Rivers dies. And then that person's tweet gets 800,000. Like, dude, how'd you know? It's like, fuck, I didn't. Okay. So one question that I've seen on the internet from people who don't really know football, I follow this one subreddit called NFL Noobs. I actually love it because it's like a really friendly community.
Fun.
And it's basically people who don't know the NFL asking questions like, why would you pass on this down? And then there's, people who sometimes the answer is you shouldn't. Clearly they shouldn't have.
Can we post our sports gossip clips in that subreddit?
We probably should. I'm just always afraid.
We should do that.
I'm just always afraid of reactions.
Yeah, that's fair.
But that's not why we're in the game. Like,
I was going to say, the funniest part about sports gossip is the girlies are fabulous online. And then the boys, because they're actual sports fans, they're always like, meh, meh, meh.
Honestly, to be fair, 95% of boys are very good. The most recent one we posted where it was going through the wags, I basically said a lot of things that are like, this is what they talk about on sports shows of being like, who should win the MVP? And they're like, no, it should be blah, blah, blah. So I give them a pass. But okay, so one thing I saw was, why are the Los Angeles Rams ahead of the Seattle Seahawks? Why did the Rams make the playoffs, but the Seahawks didn't?
Okay.
Because they both have 10-6 records. So I'm going to go through basically how you decide who wins a tie in the NFL. Okay. So the Rams and the Seahawks both play in the same division, the NFC West. They both finished with 10-6 records. So one of them, they're tied record-wise. So the first thing that they look at is, okay, who's better in the head-to-head matchups? Because they play each other, because they're in the same division, twice each year, one home, one away.
Okay.
So they play in Seattle, they play in Los Angeles. Problem is, they both won one of those games. They're 1-1 against each other. They're tied there. Okay, so the next step. Okay, who won the most games in the division? Like against the other two teams? Because you guys split with each other. What about the other two teams? And I believe they were both 3-1 or 2-2. So they're both tied again. So they're still tied.
Oh my gosh.
Who won the most games in their conference? The NFC. They both won the same amount of games in the NFC.
Oh my God.
So they're tied again.
This is literally #twinning.
This is #twinning. They had the identical seasons. And we get to finally, and it goes even further. Like it can go even further. Like the rules for tiebreakers. It's really funny. But where their tiebreak ends is the strength of record wins, which is, okay, let's look at every single one of the teams that they beat. Out of all of their 10 wins, what are the records of those 10 teams that they beat? We add up all the wins. Who beat whose wins came against teams with the most average wins? And the Rams just barely won.
At what point do we just have them play one more game against each other?
Any other sport, usually you kind of do.
Why do we have to play this whole, like, let's pull up the spreadsheets shit? Like,
because football is so dangerous that anytime that they're like, you do not want to throw in a random for fun game. Okay, so this past weekend was the last week of the regular season for the NFL.
Okay.
Which it's a really interesting week because there's a few games that really matter as people are trying to see like, okay, what teams are going to make the playoffs. And then there are a few games that just don't matter where it's like, neither of these teams are going to make the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Neither of them are really close to getting a top pick. They're just sort of middle of the pack teams. This game doesn't matter. It's a really dangerous game. Why are we playing? This doesn't really make a ton of sense, but they're going to continue to play it. Well, one of the reasons why in those games that don't really matter, players especially really care about it is because the way that a lot of their contracts work, the way that they make money, they'll have like, okay, you're going to make this amount of money per season.
Yeah.
But also there's like different incentives where it's like, if you catch 100 passes, you get an extra $500,000.
Ooh.
If you get 5 touchdowns, you get an extra $1 million. If you get 10 touchdowns, you get $2 million. If you lead the league in touchdowns, you'll get $5 million. Like these big incentives.
Yeah.
And every year at the end, you can kind of look it up where it's like, okay, who's like a game away from their incentives? Mm-hmm. So there was one really fun instance where this one player, he's a wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His name's Mike Evans. Nobody really talks about him or like, they don't talk about him enough, even though he's a Hall of Fame receiver because he plays for the Buccaneers and his name's Mike Evans. That's not a super exciting name.
Yeah.
It's not like Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, It's a normal guy name.
Yeah.
That's Mr. Evans, Michael Evans. Like, it's just normal guy name. So at the end of the game, the Buccaneers had won the game. There was like 20 seconds left. And what you would always do basically is just take a knee. Let the time run out, game's over. But the Buccaneers didn't. They ran a play where they threw Mike Evans the ball and he ran for, I think, 6 yards. And then the Saints tackled him.
Okay.
And typically what happens in the NFL, and this has happened often, most recently, I think either last year or the year before, the Ravens, when they should have kneeled the ball, they ran a running play. And the teams got in a fight. The coaches were yelling at each other because, like, you won the game. Stop being a dick. Like, you won the game.
Yeah.
Stop running plays. The Saints this time, not only did they not start a fight with the Buccaneers, their division rivals, they actually, it looked like, let Mike Evans catch the ball. Like, didn't try to stop him from catching the ball and let him run 6 yards. And then they tackled him very gently and Mike Evans kind of went down. So the question is why? The reason why is for two reasons. One, we have the contract incentives.
Yeah.
If Mike Evans got 5 more yards, he'd get a $3 million bonus. And there's not one player in the NFL that's like, I'm trying to keep him away from the money.
Yeah, because it's like, we all get it. We all play the game.
Dude, come on. But then 2, and this is kind of the cooler one, Mike Evans has been in the league. This is his 10th, it's either his 10th or 11th season. I think it's his 10th season. He is the only NFL wide receiver in history to have 1,000 receiving yards every season he's been in the NFL.
Okay.
That's incredibly impressive. 1,000 yards is a really big year. He's never not had 1,000 yards. So this season he got hurt and he was out for like 4 games. And it was like, everybody was talking about like, oh, he's going to miss the 1,000.
Yeah.
I said, no,
He's going to get it.
I almost put money on being like, this is the time to bet on it. This is exactly when you're supposed to do that. He was at 995 yards. And so it was like, all right, let's keep the record going.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's kind of fun. It's like you want people to keep it up. Like regardless of what team you're on, you're like, shit, I want you to do this thing. Like I want you to. Like it's like the baseball thing where it's like it's a perfect game or like
you don't want to ruin the perfect game.
It's like shit. Like what are the odds of this happening? It's like that's so much bigger than the game in my mind.
It's so much bigger, but what's funny though too is because no matter what, like I saw it, and I was like, oh, good for Mike Evans. It's great. Everybody's really happy. There is a small part of me, like 1% of me, that's like,
he didn't really do it.
He didn't really do it. Like the Saints let him do it.
Yeah.
And everybody in the stadium, including Saints fans, they all clapped, like, good for Mike Evans, whatever. But like, I just also wonder, like, okay, what about the owner?
I was pissed.
Owner's sitting there like, what the fuck, dude? Like now with $3 million?
$3 million, quick $3 million.
He would gladly pay Mike Evans, he's the greatest Buccaneer. I don't want to say greatest Buccaneer of all time because Warren Sapp's really good too. But he's the greatest.
Wasn't Tom Brady on the Bucs?
Yeah, but he was only on the Bucs for 2-3 seasons, and so he won't statistically be the greatest Buccaneer of all time. But Mike Evans, like he definitely holds all the Buccaneers wide receiver records. Mm-hmm. It's not even close. It's like he's awesome, and he seems like a really great guy. Oh, there was one other Mike Evans scandal. It was a couple years ago after the game. Mike Evans, the teams were walking out, maybe it was at halftime. They were walking into the tunnel and one of the referees ran up to talk to Mike Evans. And then Mike Evans, they saw it on camera, looked like he signed an autograph for the ref. That's a big no-no because it's
because it's like you're going to sell it or are you favoring him now?
Yeah, what's the deal? Yeah. Oh, you're being really friendly with this guy. And so basically what it came out was he played, they had been talking and Mike, he was giving the guy his number because Mike Evans was trying to learn how to play golf. I think that guy's brother was a golf instructor.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, yeah, I'll give your number to my brother.
Yeah.
Even that is like a little bit shady. Like,
it's
why
kind
are you
fraternizing with...
Definitely fraternizing with the refs. And then I think the argument too that like all the NFL players were saying is like, we see them every week. Like they're friends with the refs.
Yeah.
Like
we're friends with everyone. Like everyone, like...
Yeah. We're friends with the guys on the other side of the field. Yeah. For the most part. Some of them hate each other. Yeah. I mean, I could go even, let's talk Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans. I could spin this with Mike Evans more and more. But yeah, so I thought that was interesting. There were a few other ones like that too.
So it's like he might get Girl Boss of the Week for me just because he did it.
He did it. Yeah. And good for everybody involved. There was another one with like Geno Smith where it's like, I think he had to throw, I don't actually see if he got it, but like If you threw for another 180 yards, you get a $2 million bonus. And it's like, fuck, man. Like, let him pass the ball.
Get that cash money.
You're out of the play. They ended up being out of the playoffs anyway. It's like, just let him fucking throw the ball.
Just let him do it. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, Your Honor. Let him do it.
Your Honor.
You weren't even there.
You weren't even there. She didn't do it. I did it. Free her.
Free
oh my
her.
God. Yeah. So that's sports gossip.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's it for the Public Cool podcast.
Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment.
Please subscribe. Even if you're like listening, please go subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Why not?
Follow us on whatever. It would be awesome if our sweet little podcast can maybe get 2,000 subscribers.
That'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. It will. It will.
No, I know.
We're going to keep on doing this for
We love you guys for sticking with us. You guys aren't just the clips people.
Yeah.
We're in like a little club right now with a couple people. Feels like.
They're in the pool.
Yeah, they're in the pool.
Us.
You guys are in the pool.
Yeah, that's what we.
I'll put sunscreen on your back. Like that's where we're at right now.
So you know how there's like, okay, what do you call the listeners?
Uh-huh.
This is kind of long, but it's like the people in the pool. Are you a man in the pool? Are you a woman in the pool?
How about the floaties?
Floaties is really good. I feel that sounds like our yearly awards.
Yeah.
The floaties.
The floaties.
Okay.
The floaters.
Trademarked. Verbal trademark.
Are you guys the floaters?
They're the floaters. Ooh, I like that.
Okay.
Done.
T-shirts
coming. T-shirts.
We'll sell
shipped.
Tens of them.
Hey, floaters are committed.
They are. We love the floaters.
We love the floaters.
All right.
Love you guys. Towel off.
Towel off. I love you guys.